This is the Automotive Repair Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up Effective Communication, the show on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network focused on elevating our communication and leadership skills. I'm your host, Craig O'Neill. And in our episode today, we are continuing our 10-part series on tips for public speaking, and we have arrived at tip number 8. I'm calling this one, Make Mistakes, Keep Going. Now, the 8th tip from Toastmasters, that's the tips this series was inspired by, is listed differently. It's listed as, don't apologize. And this did not resonate with me. I've often been sorry, and I say I'm sorry an awful lot. No, not too often, but the point is this. Mistakes are going to happen. A brief, natural acknowledgement of a mistake is perfectly human, and arguably in this AI era we are in, delightfully human. Now, the truth is, if I call you by the wrong name accidentally at a networking event, maybe it's been a year since I've seen you, ask me how this happens. I'm probably going to say, I'm sorry. If you stumble heavily over a complex word or phrase, you may find it quite natural to stop, say, sorry, excuse me, and then say the word or phrase. My point is this: apologies are not forbidden. The principle here is that we don't dwell on mistakes. We don't draw undue attention to them, and we don't make the mistake bigger than it was. We go through it. We find our stride, and we keep going. Mistakes are problematic when they distract from our message. We don't need to distract from our message by drawing out more attention to our mistakes. Now, our word of the day today is perseveration, and we'll define that word for you after we hear a brief word from our sponsors who make this show possible. Hey friends, as you know, I'm a proud member of the AutoFlow team, and let me tell you, we've changed how business is done for auto shops everywhere. We support your client experience before, during, and after the work is done. Imagine this: timely updates sent directly to your clients, branded digital vehicle inspections, and seamless communication from start to finish. That's why shops love AutoFlow. And hey, with those 5-star reviews rolling in, you'll wonder how you ever managed without us. Take an important next step and take your auto shop to the next level. Visit www.autoflow.com. Get on board with an AutoFlow trial. Want to see your auto repair shop thrive? Are you looking to drive more customers to your auto repair shop? Let ShopDog Marketing be your guide. Our customer-first approach, combined with AI-driven creative content, ensures top rankings. Dominate mobile first and voice search with our specialized expertise. Reach out to ShopDog Marketing today and start growing your business. Don't miss out on this chance to boost your business. Visit shopdogmarketing.com. Inbound has exclusively served independent auto repair shops with expert communication solutions for years. Our robust VoIP platform ensures you stay connected while our industry-leading AI analytics take your business to the next level. We provide the tools you need to understand your customers and optimize every interaction. Choose Inbound for proven expertise and unmatched innovation. Visit callinbound.com and discover the difference we can make. Okay, we are back. The word of the day is perseveration. Perseveration. As a noun, perseveration is the tendency to continue or repeat a thought, word, or behavior beyond what is useful or appropriate, even after the reason for it is past. Used in a sentence, it would be, his perseveration on the mispronounced word kept the whole room stuck on a moment that everyone else had already forgotten. Now, let's use it as a verb. To perseverate. To perseverate is to dwell on or repeat something past the point where it serves any purpose. Used in a sentence in this way, it would be like this. When she realized she'd called him the wrong name, she began to perseverate, explaining, apologizing, explaining again until the conversation was completely derailed. So this word has its roots in psychology. It describes a symptom seen in certain neurological conditions, but it's also used broadly and conversationally to mean exactly what we're talking about here, the spiral. It's the inability to let a moment go and just move forward. I think it's a satisfying word too. It sounds like something that won't stop, perseveration. So here's the scene that I want to talk about. And I've watched this towards our topic here of making mistakes and moving on. I've seen this happen in my Toastmasters club. I'm going to pick on a role specifically. It's when someone takes on that counter role, especially for the first time. The counter, in case you've forgotten, the counter's job is pretty straightforward. They track filler words during the meeting, distracting ahs, ums, ers, the you knows, all those little verbal crutches that we lean on when our brain is searching for the next right word. It's considered one of the easier roles. So a lot of times our newer members that aren't veterans of the club will take this role happily, and it's genuinely valuable. So while I'm picking on it here, I want to highlight something. The reason it's valuable is because of the awareness that it creates, and it's just one of those key first steps towards breaking the habit of using filler words is to take this role and heighten that awareness. But here's what happens. The counter will, at the end of the meeting, get up and they'll deliver the report. And in the middle of delivering it, they'll inevitably have an an or an themselves, and they hear themselves say it. And instead of moving on, they stop and say, oh, there's one. And they start writing it down on the paper that they're keeping track of for others. They keep going and it happens again. Oh, there's another. And suddenly the person whose job that it was to track everyone else's filler words has now become a victim of their own critique and is their harshest self-critic, right? Narrating their own mistakes in real time is what they're doing. And you can feel the room shift when this happens. This is perseveration in action. And I've seen this so many times now. I've wondered, why does this happen? I think it's like this. When we feel we're being evaluated, especially when we sense we are under a microscope, our brain turns part of its attention inward and we become the observer of ourselves at the very same time we're trying to perform. And that split attention comes with a cost. Nervous energy comes, and it's being fueled by being evaluated. It's now fueling self-monitoring, and the self-monitoring amplifies any small mistake, making it seem very significant to the self-observer at that time. So it isn't just the new members, though. Even veteran Toastmaster members, people who've been doing this for like a year or 2 years, that middle veterancy, I would say, they often have corrected the habit. They have a lot less filler words than they would have at the beginning of their journey. It's noticeable. But on occasion, they'll be giving an otherwise really good speech. They'll have a filler come across there and they call it out in the middle of the speech. This evaluative environment that we have in those clubs, I feel like it does turn the volume up a little bit on some self-criticism. It's inevitable. I think it's just a part of the journey. So I don't want to have anyone feel bad. It's like, oh yeah, totally did that the other day. It's normal. Actually, what I've seen now is there's really 3 major stages of this. And most people on their communication journey, whether they're in a Toastmasters club or just working in other areas of improvement on this topic, will probably feel this as well. I think these 3 stages are pretty simple. Stage 1, in the beginning, you're not even aware of filler words as an example. You're not aware. They come and they go. You don't notice them really at all. You're actually more legitimately surprised to learn they're common in your speech. And it's like, wow, didn't know I was doing that. Then comes stage 2, and that's more of the developmental stage. And this is where I feel like perseveration lives here. You've taken that role now, and now you're hyper aware. You are monitoring yourself now in real time and intentionally. This is not a bad thing to do. You're actually engaged now in the hard work of trying to break a bad habit and learn the practices of a new one. But every mistake when you're going through that feels enormous, and the spiral's going to be right there waiting for you. So then with time and practice, you do arrive at what I'm calling it stage 3 here. This is something closer to a veteran Toastmaster type of, or someone who's speaking on a regular basis. And there's an ease that comes in this because the awareness becomes quiet. It's internalized. You have very few filler words now. And when one does slip through, you do notice it, but you quietly acknowledge it to yourself and you refrain from repeating it on the go while you're moving. You don't spiral. You notice quietly, and then you move on. That's a really great spot to be. In fact, I would consider myself at this stage now in my local club, at least. And when I do have fillers in a speech, usually one of my rushed ones that didn't have a lot of preparation, I'm actually to the point again where I'm legitimately surprised to hear that a few cropped up, and invariably some of our other veteran members who will take the counter role are all very happy to find one from our veteran members. So it does feel a little like losing a game at that point. But the goal has never been perfection. And that's actually important, that the veterans are up there and still fall victim to the same thing. It has to happen because you wouldn't be human if it wasn't. The goal has always been to reach a place where mistakes don't derail you. At the heart of it, there is a point where dwelling on a mistake causes the mistake to become the focal point of the entire interaction. And when that happens, something shifts. It's almost like it becomes the audience's job to help you move on. The burden transfers to them, and now they have to reassure and encourage you and tell you it's okay so that you can continue. Now, in Toastmasters meetings, that's a safe place for exactly that sort of thing to happen. These will happen, and they will get you through that. But in professional interactions, at worst, perseveration on mistakes can raise questions on your core competency. Minimally, it ruins your presence and distracts from the purpose of your interaction. There is another side to this that's worth calling out. Mistakes can actually humanize us. When you're less consumed with performing perfectly and more focused on simply communicating, the thought will still land, sometimes even with more authenticity than if you had delivered it flawlessly. And I think that's never been more true ever than this time in history today. And I was reflecting on this very recently because I've noticed something in my own work. I've been dictating more lately, dictating to a voice program that's basically like a verbal keyboard. I speak into the program and it puts the text out in the text fields that I do. I use this with my team chats that are ongoing during the day. I use this for putting out rough drafts for episodes. It's amazing and it helps me a lot. The program I'm using is actually called Willow Voice, and this has just been fantastic. It saves me so much time over typing. Email me if you would like a referral code to get a free month. It's a huge time saver for anyone that has to do a lot of typing. Service advisors, you would absolutely love it. But here's the thing. I've found that with raw voice dictation, even with the imperfections in my occasionally unpolished utterances, the output is often closer to an original creative thought that I was thinking compared to the hypercritical self-cleansing process of typing out those words and correcting those little red squiggly lines that are on your page. Somewhere in that polishing, some of the life gets edited out. That's exactly what over-monitoring does to a communicator in real time. And the pursuit of perfection pulls you out of that moment. It costs you energy. It costs you presence. It may cost you connection. So self-criticism pulls you out of presence, and presence is the entire prerequisite for meaningful connection. That's the loop worth calling out. The harder you try to perform perfectly, the less present you are. The less present you are, the more mistakes you make. The more mistakes you make, the more you have to perseverate on. It is a self-defeating cycle. The way out of it is to accept up front that mistakes will happen and they don't usually matter much. When you accept that, you stay present, you connect, and the mistakes become so minor that nobody around you even registers them. And I've noticed this as well, even in my role as a speech evaluator, especially in our Toastmaster clubs, very often. Unless filler words become genuinely distracting, I rarely clock them if a speaker has the audience with them. If people are following, if they're feeling, if they're engaged, a filler word that nobody notices is a complete non-event. Pointing it out would actually be the bigger disruption. It would snap everyone out of the moment you worked to create. Said another way, I think would summarize it like this. We don't remove filler words because they're a stain on communication. We remove them because they can break the connection. But if the connection is already intact, a filler word that slipped by unnoticed did not break anything. You're going to make a mistake. When you do, move on like it never happened. We talked in our last episode about tip number 7, that people want you to succeed. That applies perfectly here. Your audience is not sitting there looking for the things you are getting wrong. They are there to hear what you have to say. They want you to land it. They are rooting for you. Don't let them see you as your own harshest critic. So, evaluative scenarios aside, in almost every real communication situation, people want you to succeed. Now, I will grant you that social media may be its own universe on that front, but you do get the idea. Mistakes happen. Keep going. Hey, if you have something to add to this or a story you'd like to share where you've fallen victim to perseveration or otherwise, let me know. And if there's something you're curious about, something you'd like to talk about, email me at speakup@craigoneil.net. That's ONEILL.net. We appreciate hearing from you on anything that helps or any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear us discuss on the show that will help you on your communication journey. And remember, listen up on the app to all the shows on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network with Remarkable Results Radio with Carm Capriato, Diagnosing the Aftermarket A through Z with Matt Fonslow. I was at Vision. I was hoping to see him. I think he was hiding and just was not at all sociable at all. I couldn't find him anywhere. I know he was around, but oh well, take it up with him. I did see, however, host of Business by the Numbers, Hunt Demarest. He stopped and said hi. He's a gentleman. And the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast with Brian and Kim Walker, saw both of them. Lovely. I saw Brian anyway. I don't think I saw Kim. I'm a little sad about that now. The Weekly Blitz with Coach Chris Cotton. I know I didn't see Chris either. I got to go back. Man. We'll have more opportunities to see people around, but hey, you don't have to wait for a next event. You can hit the app, download any episodes you want to listen to. And once again, thank you to all of our sponsors, AutoFlow, Inbound, Shop Dog Marketing. We really appreciate all of our sponsors in making this show possible for us to bring for you freely on the app, which you should download. Thanks for joining us. Get out there, listen up, speak up, make mistakes, move on.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network. Download our exclusive podcast app at automotiverepairpodcastnetwork.com because the best conversations in the industry start here. Check the show notes for Craig's YouTube channel and email. Let him know what topics you'd like him to speak up about.